here coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video, and in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video I'm also with Charmander as normal, but we are doing a basically top 5 cards of Phantom Rage. Now obviously the Phantom Rage sneak peek is out on this weekend. It's on Saturday, and I thought, seeing as the sneak peek is literally out tomorrow as of release of this video, it's time to talk about what are the actual best cards in this set. Now, obviously, these are just going to be the 5 cards that I personally feel like are the best cards to pick up, the best cards to get overall. If you're looking for archetypes to pick up, 2 suggestions real quick: all the Phantom Knight cards, definitely pick up all of those, and all the virtual world cards. That deck is insane, and the Phantom Knight stuff is just really good. But these are just the top 5 cards that I would personally say that you should be picking up for specific reasons. So without further ado, let's actually get into talking about them, because I wanna talk about them. So yeah, let's talk. The 5th best card to pick up in Phantom Rage. Well, in my personal opinion, the 5th best card to be picking up in Phantom Rage is Virtual World QB Shen. Now, this is a level 9 synchro monster that is actually really cool when you think about it, and I think it's a really good pickup because of what it can do. Now, obviously, its first effect is any card sent from the field to the graveyard is banished. So, right off the bat with that, I personally think this is a really good pickup just for that reason alone, because say you can summon this and also have a card like Herald of the Arclight on board. Well, that literally means, any card sent to the graveyard, any card sent from the field, and any card sent from the hand into the graveyard are instantly banished, locking out literally any cost effects or effects that would happen when sent to the graveyard, just right out. It's all gone. Macrocosmos is now on the board in monster form, and that's really sick. So like, just the first effect alone can be an absolutely devastating effect, and literally a lot of cards are being sent from the field to the graveyard anyway. So if you have this on board, then you're basically just saying, oh, you've summoned this really good monster that needs to go to a graveyard. You summoned Alistair. Well, that Alistair, when you link it away, is now banished, so you can't use the invocation to like fusion something with me. I'm sorry. So yeah, like, this is a really good card just because of that alone. But it's also got other effects, such as when a monster you control declares an attack, you can return 1 banished monster to your owner's graveyard. So if you've got like any of your banished monsters in the graveyard that are face up, you can go ahead and use this, return it to the graveyard. And this also has a synergy without that as well, because during the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish 2 monsters with different attributes while this is in the graveyard and types, and you can special summon this card from the graveyard. So not only do you have a way to banish all cards that are sent from the field to the graveyard, you also have a way to return banished monsters to the graveyard, which you would be banishing with this, and also have a way to summon this card back just by literally banishing 2 random monsters in the graveyard that literally have just different types and attributes. So this card can summon itself back, which is absolutely insane. This card can banish any card sent from the field to the graveyard, which is also really good and strong. And this card can also return your banished monsters to the graveyard. So not only is it self-sufficient in banishing cards, not only can it return the banished monsters to the graveyard, but it also banishes stuff to summon itself back. And it's just absolutely insane. Virtual World QB, a card that literally is just meant for virtual worlds, of course, is just a generic monster in itself, because you just need 2 monsters, a tuner, and 1 plus non-tuner monsters. So I personally feel like this is just a really insane card, and is definitely a card to pick up in this set. So yeah, that is number 5 though. Let's move on to the number 4. So at number 4. Number 4 is another card that I personally think was made to boost one specific archetype, but is going to end up boosting a lot of other archetypes, and that is the Phantom Knights of Torn Scale. Now, the Phantom Knights of Torn Scale at first doesn't look to be anything special if you're looking at it in just a Phantom Knight standpoint, but when you look at a standpoint for other decks, this card could potentially be a lot more broken. So let's actually read its effect to kind of get an idea why I'm thinking this. First, you can discard 1 card from your hand to send any Phantom Knight card from your deck to the graveyard. So discard any card in your hand and then send a Phantom Knight card from your deck to the graveyard. Literally, this card is better than Dark Grapha right off the bat, for the simple fact that it discards any card, not just a dark monster, any card. So just right off the bat, like that. And then it can send any Phantom Knights card to the graveyard. So you want to send a Phantom Knight's Wings to special summon a potential Phantom Knight from your graveyard? you can send the wings. You want to send a cloak to go ahead and search any Phantom Knight card in the game. You can go ahead and send a cloak. You want to go ahead and send a boots to go ahead and then search any Phantom Knight spell or trap. You can send boots. So pretty much you get to send any Phantom Knight card in the game to the graveyard. But it also has another effect. If another Phantom Knight's card is banished while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So not only does this card have an effect that says, oh, I'm on the same level as Armageddon Knight, not as good as Armageddon Knight because I'm not a 1 card starter, I'm a 1.5 card starter, but I can also summon myself from the graveyard. Now, obviously, both of these effects are a hard once per turn. So it's not like you can go, oh, I send this to the graveyard, special summon it back, then use this effect again, like Armageddon Knight. But looking at this card right away, the thing that I notice off the bat is it's a level 3. Now, you're probably thinking, a level 3? Why does that matter? Well, this card literally looks to me like, oh, I can go into any 3-point whatever access deck with Cherubini and be a full 1-card combo on my own. So literally, this card is a potential full 1.5 card starter card because you need to discard a card, and it's just absolutely insane to look at it like that. Literally, you could be going into full Cherubini combos, you could be going into full PK combos, PK fire combos, you could literally go into so many combos. Just this one card that I feel like is absolutely insane, and looking at it makes me think, oh, this card is 100% comparable to Armageddon Knight in the fact that I can go insane, and I'm a level 3, so I have synergy with stuff like Cherubini. Now, it also has stuff outside of that as well. It's also a potential full 1-card starter for Dark Warrior decks, for instance, so you can make the Isolde and then go from the Isolde into other things. You can literally run this in any deck that would be a 1-card starter deck that just requires literally 2 monsters as well, so say you want to make a 1.5 card Dragoon, well, this card can literally equal that, because all you got to do is normal summon it, discard any random card in your hand, send a cloak to the graveyard, banish the cloak, add a boots from your deck to your hand, and then summon the boots and make a Verti Anaconda. So it's not only that, this card is literally a potential 1-card starter combo in so many different decks that I personally feel like this is just one of the most important cards in this set to look up in terms of what can it be used for, how broken can it be, and is it going to just be absolutely insane. So yeah, personally, I feel like Torn Scales is one of the best cards in this set. The other Phantom Knight cards do have their uses as well, so if you want to look at those, they are kind of nice. But I feel like Torn Scales is just the best one overall because it can be done with so many different archetypes. So yeah, without further ado though, that's number 4. Let's go on to number 3. So, number 3. Number 3 is a card that I personally don't like just for the fact of why it was made and the rarity was put in because it was made, and that is Alpha the Master of Beasts. Now, this card, obviously, it does have a lot of good perks to it. This card is a really cool card in its own right and does have a potential of being a really insane card in the future, but my personal thoughts on this card don't seem to need to matter here because I personally feel like this is the 3rd best card in the set for a couple of reasons. First being, it's a free special summon that isn't once per turn. Now, all that you need to do to special summon Alpha the Master of Beasts is literally your opponent needs to have more attack points on the board than you do. So if your opponent has literally a 100 attack point monster on the board, you can special summon Alpha from your hand. So it's just like, oh, absolutely insane. I can just be a free special summon that's a free K beat stick right onto the board. Really good, right? But this card also has another effect where you can target any number of beast warriors, winged beasts you control, return them to your hand, then return face-up monsters your opponent controls to the hand equal to the number of cards you return to your hand. Also for the rest of this term, Alpha the Master of Beasts you control cannot attack directly. So yeah, it locks itself out from attacking, but it also has the ability to return a multitude of different beast, winged beasts, and beast warriors to the hand to return opponent's cards to the hand. Now, basically only monsters. Now, obviously, at first look, this card is definitely just a worse Pancratops. This is a card that says, oh, I'm trying to be Pancratops, but I'm not Pancratops. But nonetheless, this card is still a really strong card in this set nonetheless, for the pure fact that its special summon effect is not a once per turn. So, all you've got to do is literally special summon this card, return it to the hand, get rid of a potential bad card on the board that your opponent has that you don't want them to have on board, and then summon it back, and then, seeing as you can't attack with it for the rest of the turn, you could just do whatever you want with it. You could use it as link material, you could potentially make a rank 8 monster with it because it is a level 8 if you're playing something like a Blue Eyes deck or a rank 8 base deck. You could literally make whatever you want with this card after it's done, because it literally summons itself, returns itself, summons itself again, and then is there to be used as link fodder majority of the time. So yeah, Alpha, in my personal opinion, is just a really worse Pankratops. Like, it's a worse Pankratops, but Pankratops is at 1. It's not a quick effect, so that's also a thing that just makes it a worse Pankratops. But nonetheless, for the fact that this card can literally just return any monster on the board to the hand, and it's not a hard once per turn to summon it. So say you open 2 of them and your opponent has like 3,100 attack in the hand, for instance, you could just summon the second Alpha of Beasts, go ahead into a rank 8 comp play, go ahead into an XC synchro play, no, not a synchro play, sorry, a link play. Just go into a play that you personally want with the 2, and it's just literally a free summon that isn't a once per turn. So yeah, Alpha the Master of Beasts, free removal is good. It's really good to have free removal, but it's not a quick effect, which kind of does make it a little down for me. But nonetheless, this is still one of the strongest cards in the set, just for the fact that it's a free summon. All your opponent needs to do is have more attack points than you, and in a format where we're seeing tons of combo decks having like more than 3k monsters with stuff like Boral Savage Dragon in general, like literally that monster is always over 3k just because it equips. It's a very good card in that kind of instance, and just being able to remove it to then, you know, get rid of opponent's stuff, really good, and then you can just summon it back. But yeah, guys, that's number 3. Let's go ahead and go on to number 2. So, number 2 is a card that I think everybody should be trying to pick up out of this set, no matter what. It is one of the best cards in this set, and I personally feel like it is a card that you should be picking up for side decks, main deck options, control decks, just anything that would be a deck that you should be playing. This card, I think, should either be in your side or main, depending on what you're playing, and that is Warning Point. Now, people are probably thinking, Warning Point, it's a normal trap card. Why would you want to pick up a normal trap card? Traps aren't the best in the game right now, so why would I pick up a trap card? Well, here's why, people. Warning Point is a normal trap card that says, when a monster is summoned, this turn, that face-up monster cannot attack. Its effects are negated. Also, it cannot be used as a material for a fusion, synchro, or a Xyz, or a link summon. Do I have to explain why something like that is really good? This card literally has the capabilities of stopping your opponent's monster from being able to attack and have its effects negated. So at the start, that's just 2 really good effects, but also it has the ability to say your opponent cannot use that monster for a fusion, a synchro, an Xyz, or a link summon. Now, what decks could really be hurt by a Warning Point? Well, first deck that I'm thinking of is Invoked. Literally, they normal summon Alistair, you activate Warning Point, that Alistair doesn't get to search the invocation, it can't be used to make an Almirage or to go into a secure Gardener. The literal Alistair is just sitting there doing nothing and is a dead card because, well, Warning Point said no. Another deck this card could be really good against Dragon Link. They normal summon Starliege Safer. Well, you flip the Warning Point. Now it can't attack. Its effects are negated, so even if it wants to attribute itself to search a dragon from the deck, that effect will be negated. And also, if they want to try and make it into a Striker Dragon to go ahead and get the field spell at least, they can't do that because it cannot be used for an extra deck summon, essentially. So it's like, what's the problem here? This card has 2 really good points against decks that are really strong in the game right now. The card is absolutely insane. Obviously, the deck card does pretty much nothing to dinos, because even if they do summon, they're probably going to chain the Miscellaneous Source anyway. But in my opinion, this card is a deck that everybody should be having at least in their side deck, because if you go first and you flip this card, it's gonna be really good. And obviously you can't use it from the hand, so it's not something as powerful as Impermanence, but nonetheless, having a card like this that is pretty much just a no material that says I can set myself and do a lot more and don't have to rely on having no cards on the board, I feel like this card is a really strong contender and is definitely something everybody should be picking up. And also, guess what? It's a Trap Tricks target, so if you want to Trap Tricks it, you can as well. But yeah, definitely a really strong card in my opinion, definitely something everyone should be picking up, and definitely the second best card in this set in my personal opinion. So yeah, that's number 2 though. Let's go ahead and go on to the number 1 card in this set. So the number 1 best card in the entire set of Phantom Rage. Now, I think this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because this is truly the best card in the set without a doubt, and that is Divine Arsenal AA-ZEUS Sky Thunder. literally the best card in the entire set for a couple of reasons. Let's just read its effect though to get you guys the idea of why. Now, obviously, up first, this is a rank 12, so let's go ahead and read its first effect to make you understand why it's the best card. Now, once per turn, if an Xyz monster battled this turn, you can also Xyz summon Divine Arsenal AA-ZEUS by using one Xyz monster you control as material. Transfer its materials to this card. So, right off the bat, you just attack with an Xyz monster, any Xyz monster, and you can summon a Zeus on top. So, legit, you want to attack with some random Xyz monster, like a Babushka, and then summon this on top of the Babushka. Free Xyz monster, free 3k beat stick and defense, and free rank 12 on the spot. Yeah? You feel me? Yeah. Well, that's not why it's the best card in the set, though. It's the best card in the set for this reason. Quick effect. You can detach 2 Xyz material from this card and send all other cards from the field to the graveyard, with no once per turn in sight. So, say you're playing this card in a deck like Zodiac, for instance. If you summon this on top of a Zodiac monster that has 6 materials, guess what? You can literally detach 6 materials to send the board to the graveyard 3 times. If your opponent has a board of negates, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. You know why? Because first negate goes on this, second negate goes on this, third negate, you wasted all their negates, but now you can just go ahead and break their board with other cards. Like, legit, this card can play through 2 negates, this card can send an entire board to the graveyard with just 2 materials. This is a quick effect, so you can do it on your own turn and your opponent's turn. Like, there's literally nothing wrong with A-ZEUS Sky Thunder, because the card literally just says, I'm gonna send all cards to the graveyard, and I'm not gonna care, because I'm a quick effect, and if I have enough materials, I'm not a once per turn, so, good job. Like, this card legit makes Zodiac so much more powerful, and also just makes any Xyz deck so much more powerful, because you can just literally have a board wipe on your opponent's turn, which is just absolutely insane. So, definitely, just for that effect alone, this card is the best card in the set, but it's got one more effect that does make it a little more broken. So, once per turn, if another card you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, indeed, you can attach one card from your hand, deck, or extra deck to this card as material. Now, this card legit says, if any other cards are on the board are destroyed of mine, then I get to go ahead and just attach a material from my hand, my deck, or my extra deck for free. For free. Like, and I believe it doesn't specify what card you attach from deck, because it doesn't say from the top of deck, it just says from the deck. So I'm assuming you can just look through your deck, attach the material to Zeus. So if you have a monster that wants to be sent to the graveyard by an effect, you can just attach it to Zeus, and then be like, yeah, when this card is sent to the graveyard, I'm going to get an effect, so, cool. And that's just insane. And if you want to attach an extra monster like an UNS or something, then you can just send the UNS to the graveyard and then just destroy a card. Hell, this card legit is absolutely insane. It has ways to replenish its Xyz materials. It has a way to summon itself very easily just by an Xyz monster declaring attack. And a non-once per turn quick effect, send all cards to the graveyard? If you're telling me Zeus is not the best card in the set, you're lying, because this card is the best card in the set. There's no way this card is not the best card in the set, because it just has so many good things about it. An easy way to summon it on any Xyz monster, a way to send all cards on the field to the graveyard, and also once per turn, attach from anywhere. It's absolutely insane. So Zeus is definitely the best card in this set. It's definitely going to be like a £60 to £100 card in my personal opinion, and it's a one-off, so don't worry having to get 3, you only need 1. So yeah, like legit, Divine Arsenal Zeus, best card in the set. No other cards are as good as it in this set, so it's definitely a card that everybody should be trying to get. But guys, that's just my thoughts on Phantom Rage. These are the top 5 cards in Phantom Rage in my personal opinion. Obviously, all of these cards have their own benefits, disadvantages, and all of them are going to be worth something in the set. Sadly, these are all secret cards. There's not really any lower end cards that are really worth picking up. Like, I guess maybe the Gizmic Dog, because it can be worked with like Pot of Extravagance and stuff, but it's not that good. But definitely all of these cards on this set are really good. These 5 cards are just the best. Like, you've got a ton of other things you could be potentially picking up too, like the Tri-Brigade deck. You could pick up the entire Virtual World deck if you really wanted to. You can get all the Phantom Knight stuff. You could get the new Melfi card if you really want to go that route. Like, there is a lot of stuff in this set that you could potentially pick it up, including the Mutant cards that I personally don't think are the best, but they're still a nice nice TCG exclusive archetype. But guys, what do you think about these cards in this set? Do you think this set is a really good set? Do you think these 5 cards are the top 5 best cards? Do you think there are other cards that are potentially better than some of these cards? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below about this, guys, because this set is really an interesting set. It's not one of the big banger sets of the year, but it's definitely a really cool set nonetheless. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts of this set in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one though. Robot1 signing out. Later all.